Yo, what's up YouTube family? It's your boy DONCOOZIE back at you with another hot TikTok reaction video. Today we will be reacting to some strange and bizarre TikToks. I'm talking about the kind that's gonna have you questioning everything. With that said, if you're new to the channel, go ahead, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you will be notified whenever I drop some new hot content that you definitely don't want to miss. With that said, let's get right to it.
Secret societies exposed. Did you know that a lot of African American people are actually just American people? Yeah, just American people, indigenous American people, Native American people, Aboriginal American people, organic to the land American people. I'm gonna tell you a little story. Once upon a time, long ago, long before any honkies, pale faces, or crackers existed on the planet Earth, dark-skinned, woolly-haired, heavily melanated beings inhabited every square inch of the planet Earth, long before the land masses even shifted. One more time. Dark-skinned, woolly-haired, heavily melanated beings inhabited every square inch of the planet Earth, long before the continents even shifted. So in 1492, when Christopher Columbus and his Spanish conquistador buddies came over here under the Spanish Inquisition and the doctrine of discovery and discovered a land that had already been inhabited for millions of years, that had a highly developed, highly advanced civilization already here, they found highly melanated, woolly-haired, copper-complected people, the organic to the land original people of the Americas, with a highly developed civilization. There's actually more pyramids on this side than there is on that side. In fact, the pyramids over here are older than the ones at Giza. The pyramids over here are older than the ones at Giza. You know what the original name for Mexico City is? Teotihuacan. Teotihuacan. Tehuti. Thoth, the Egyptian god, the pyramid of the sun, Quetzalcoatl, Teotihuacan. That's right. That's why a lot of your African American friends, if you ask them about their ancestry, they'll tell you that they're Creek or Cherokee or Blackfoot, or they have Indian in their family. That's right, because most so-called African American people are actually American people, Native American people, Aboriginal American people, organic to the land American people. Secret societies exposed. I love you guys.
Big facts, big facts.
Ask Christopher Columbus who he saw when he got off the ship. Let him know what he reported to a king.
Come on now. Let's get this knowledge.
Oh my days. When you think you've seen it all, you ain't seen nothing yet. So all this time, we've only been touching the surface. You thought the pyramids was big, but guess what? They're even bigger. Even in the movie Dusk Till Dawn, they tried to show us, but I guess we couldn't see it. The eyes are useless when the mind is blind.
Man, you can't say that ain't a split image of her. Come on now.
Aborigine, which means what? Black folks. But yet you never find a white aborigine. Rather, aborigines are called Indians, they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines, but you don't let them be called an aborigine. You want to be called an American.
Look at them eyes on her, look like Pocahontas.
You hide the black grandma in the closet.
The black grandma in the closet.
Yeah.
Significant clues to help me solve the mystery of Mexico's missing black population.
This is my family. Well, I show some pictures to show you. And this is a very old picture, and this is my grandpa with his sons.
The banditos.
Yes. And this is the wedding of my parents.
Oh, look how pretty your mom is.
But he's a dark man, and
She's
him, right.
So your family is part black?
It's part black, and it's something that was omitted until I was 19 years old.
How did you find out that you were part black?
Because I traveled to Cuba, and when I arrived there,
You know what's going on? It's been going on for a long time in history. They breeding out the darkness, breeding out the dark skin. See, they get lighter, lighter, and lighter till they be like white.
Take over their buildings. New York was already there for thousands of years. San Francisco was there for thousands of years. Los Angeles was there for thousands of years. They were built by the indigenous people who were black and Indians as well. The black people, they weren't brought over by slaves. They are the original owners of America. Black people, African Americans. They don't come from Africa. They were already here.
I'll tell you one thing. This is a good example. Look at the Africans, man. The Indians in Africa. Now look at the Indians over here. This should tell you everything you need to know. Look how they
is
dress.
the chief of the Choctaw Indian tribe. When Katrina arrived, Gillum and part of her tribe fled to Arkansas. The chief is fighting now to bring her tribe back to Louisiana.
My people been here forever. This is home. This is my motherland. My burial grounds are here, not too far up the road. I tend the burial grounds, me and my family. To me, most of my history is passed down to me under that tree right there. The things I lost, money came by. I lost the trees. I lost my animals. The old cypress still made it. I love that cypress tree. My grandfather always would tell me about that cypress, never cut that cypress. And the storm didn't even take it down. We're going to have to heal ourselves just like this tree doing.
I'll tell you another example. When you see these people dance around the fires, whatever do they dancing and stuff, they spiritual or really ritualistic dancing to the ancestors. You got to understand how they chant, but it has rhythm. You notice if anything that's out of rhythm, that doesn't have any rhythm to it, you can't really feel it. It don't give you that feeling. It doesn't really set in how it's supposed to set in. But when you got a people or a rhythm to it, rhythm to the sound and rhythm to the movements that are synchronized together, you in the whole. It's a whole nother ball game, man. It's really enchanting in a way.
As an Indian because of African descent, or am I this color because this is the color of my ancestors?
Indian territory is tribes. Like people be thinking Indians with the Pocahontas looking. That ain't how Indians look. They look like them people in New Orleans.
And all of them had each other's names tattooed on them. Man. And this was when I was younger. I didn't understand it, but then when I started going to New Orleans, on tour and shit,
we tried.
The way they are with each other, they love each other a different way than everybody else.
We're gonna talk about the black Indians I met that are still alive.
No, go ahead. Let's talk about them. Go ahead.
In New Orleans.
Well, the truth to that lies with the anthropologists, if they tell the truth. Because as they dig into the grounds, they have found people and they know they look like I look.
A few weeks ago, a guy was digging a pool in his backyard in the downtown area of New Orleans. You see, New Orleans was smaller one time, and this area was country. And they hit 6 feet down. They hit a casket. a cypress casket, cypress wood. Now, you know, when you dig down more than a foot or two in New Orleans, you're going to hit water. Cypress is a tree that's grown in a swamp. It does not rot. The cypress casket has been good for a few hundred years. They found black Indian inside with black artifacts, Indian artifacts. Okay? They said, well, let's dig north instead of that right here. They went north, the casket. South hit them, east hit them, west hit them. We found that there's a graveyard, an ancient graveyard that's almost a mile in north, south, east, and west, almost a mile apart, almost. And they found out that since when they weren't able to go any further laterally, like we dig graves, they started digging down, one on top of the other. And they have found so far 20,000 graves, black Indians.
Wow.
Okay? And this is about to hit. It hasn't hit. This happened a few weeks ago. You haven't heard on news yet, but it's going to hit the news because it's going to leak out. They're hushing it right now.
It's big facts, y'all. This is another example. Notice when you hear other people's music, like other cultures' music, versus when you hear like a culture like Latinos or, you know, like, I guess you would say the hip hop or jazz, you know, stuff like that. Soul music, what they call it. It's so rhythmic and it's so in sync with each other. Like everything is so in sync with each other. Like you have no choice but to feel the enchantment. Like it gives you the feeling where you will be thinking about the old times or the good days and stuff like that, man. It actually makes you want to get up and dance and move around. It just brings some life into you, or it's gonna bring some darkness into you, just depending on what type of music you're listening to. Like versus you listening to some other cultures, like, and this is not to cause any division, never forget that, because I love all people. We just speaking on facts, like what's going on with this here video. Like it's a different feeling and it's different, man. So like, I know you heard of the phrase of the $5 Indians, man. Now imagine those $5 Indians out there trying to, hey y'all, and in sync and rhythm. It's not gonna happen like it is with the original people. The original people always, you know, it's you can't beat original, you know what I'm saying? Generic will never beat original is all I'm getting at. Imagine you go into a white church or any other church, probably, I'm not just say white, you know, but Latinos have a lot of rhythm in their music and stuff too, a lot of soul. But imagine going to another culture's church and, you know, you hear the praise and worship type stuff. And like I said, it's not to cause any division because, you know, we all, you know, God made us all. Well, you hear they praise and worship and the dancing and stuff, you notice everything kind of offbeat, no rhythm, but then you go to like a very, very cultured church. So that's the word I should use, very cultured. And everything is in sync and you really feel like, oh man, like you almost feel like, man, the Lord is here. If he not, he's on his way. Like, and if he ain't, I know these are his people because the way this music and everything make you feel and the praise and worship and the in syncness is just like, it's undeniable is what I'm getting at. When I say enchanted, it's like it's undeniable, basically. Let me know what you think about that down below in the comment section.
Referred to as their Trail of Tears for the many who died along the way. Now, nearly 200 years later, comes the $56 million payment from the federal government to compensate the tribe for those lost Florida lands. But the Black Seminoles can't share in it because the government and the tribe say they were slaves of the Red Seminoles back then, and as slaves could not have owned land. Joe Opala, who has worked to preserve their legacy, says that's wrong.
The Black Seminoles fought side by side, died, bled for those lands in Florida.
It was some of the most fiercest fighters during the war.
During the Indian Wars?
Yes, due to the fact that they knew if they were recaptured, they were going into slavery.
Sorts created in the late 1800s, which separated the tribe into the Blood or Red Seminoles and the Freedmen or Black Seminoles.
Y'all, you know what I noticed? You see, our elders knew the truth, even the natives. I'm talking about my father's generation. My father's in his 70s, and the generation before that. They knew the truth. See, they knew they were different. If you notice, it's always the millennials that are confused. They are the ones that argue with us. If you catch a lot of older Native Americans, they will tell you the truth. I'm gonna do another video. The propaganda, the television, the shows, what's in our educational system, all of those things work together to erase our history. And while they're erasing our history, they're confusing everybody else. These two things are happening simultaneously at the same time. And this is why people come up on our platforms and they argue with us, because they're confused.
You ever heard of the phrase pen whipped with a pen? Hey man, if I didn't have nothing when I first came somewhere and I pen whipped you out of what you had, your inheritance, man, I wouldn't want you to find out who you were either, so you could, get what's rightfully yours. Man, this happens all the time, especially when you're dealing with like the old times in Europe with the royal families and stuff like that. Man, you have somebody older or a different sibling or a family member that get the other person out of their will, out of their inheritance by pen whipping them because they don't know, and they feel like, man, what you don't know can't hurt you. But it's a lot of people start to wake up and know what's really going on. And man, let's just say, man, we don't know how much longer this gonna last, man. We know in the book it say at them end times, man, the first will be last and the last shall be first. You know what I'm saying? And it's those days, man. It's only a matter of time. I love your people.
If you looked black, they wrote Cherokee Freedmen. If you looked not black, they wrote Cherokee.
Many freedmen were of mixed Cherokee and African blood, but on the rolls they were listed with no Indian blood. Last month, it all went to federal court.
I was restored as a member of the Cherokee Nation.
A settlement has let the freedmen back into the tribe for now. The descendants can vote in the election for the Cherokee chief, but there's no guarantee that they'll get to stay in the tribe. Reporting for In America, Soledad O'Brien, CNN.
That's facts.
This sounds like Black American Indians chanting in church.
A child of God.
can't tell me the guy wasn't in that building, man. If he wasn't, he was on his way for sure, for sure. That's the type of music right there, and the type of chanting and sound that let you know, man, you are cared for, you are loved, man, and that's pain in their voices, and it's happiness at the same time. Pain from what they've been through, and that they repent, they sorry for what they did, and it's a bunch of happiness to let people know and let each other know that we are strong. We're still here together. We're strong. So, you know, it could be worse. It ain't as bad as it can be. It ain't as bad as it was. We persevered, and we still here, and we're gonna keep on keeping on. We're gonna move on, and we're gonna move on together, strong. And we love all. You know what I'm saying? What you did to me, I would never do to you. You know what I'm saying? Is what that is in their voice. Like that's that real love. That's that, man, that real forgiveness, man. Like it ain't nothing like it. That's the type of sound that brings tears to your eye, but at the same time it brings joy right back after that. It's like, man, woo, that sound is powerful. That's all I'm gonna say.
30 minutes northeast of Bellingham, in a neighborhood cut out of dense forest, you'll find a group of Nooksack people fighting with all they have to keep their namesake and their homes.
That's where we're all going to have to stand up, and we're not moving. I don't know what we have to do it's going to get ugly if they do that.
Tribal leadership has disenrolled more than 300 members. They've been kicked out. Inside the home of Norma and Eugene Ulrich, a gathering of the now former Nooksack members that remain in tribal housing.
They've pitted us against each other. It's become an us and them thing.
In 2013, the Tribal Council moved to disenroll the Nooksack 306. They claim that a Canadian ancestor from the 19th century wasn't a legal Nooksack. Therefore, her relatives are eligible to enroll in the tribe.
Yeah.
Santana Rabang was a teenager when the process started nearly a decade ago.
But yet they're using the fact that our ancestral name wasn't listed on a colonial document from 1942. That's the main excuse that they're using, that we're not indigenous.
Rabang has lost her tribal benefits, and so have the elders. Back at the dinner table, Aldridge and her husband face eviction.
It's like every year I say, do I put up a tree? Do I decorate? Or, do I start packing? It's just going through my mind all the time. Like, what do we do?
Nationally, thousands of tribal members have been banished over so-called lineage concerns. But it's not that simple. Other tribes are accused of ousting members in order to maximize profits. And that's what some are accusing the Nooksack tribal leadership of doing in this case.
To say if there are 1,000 of us and we get rid of 500 of us and 500 are left, the 500 remaining will now get twice more than they had before the other 500 were exiled. That's basically the sick math that goes into disenrollment. But it's an epidemic across the country.
A crisis that has led these tribal members to do something indigenous people rarely do. Turn to the federal government for help and allow our cameras to document their struggle.
Having to look outside of this to get people to help is really difficult.
Gabe Galanda is an indigenous rights lawyer who's representing the 306.
The damage here is irreparable. I'm not convinced this tribe will ever be the same or will ever be a tribe again.
Galanda has called on the Bureau of Indian Affairs, the Biden administration, and recently drew the attention of the United Nations Human Rights Council. Just last week, the UN called on the United States to halt what they call imminent forced evictions of former Nooksack indigenous tribe members. Nooksack leadership responding, calling the UN investigation riddled with misinformation, claim that only 8 disenrolled members are facing eviction, and double down on their claim that the exiled members do not belong.
The 306 don't belong. There's nobody who is Nooksack who belongs. That's what the powers that be are flirting with.
The powers that be are the Nooksack Tribal Council. At the top, Chairman Ross Klein Sr.
Why would we reward fraud or even consider fraud to be historic?
Klein claims the 306 are members of a Canadian band, or tribe as we say in the U.S., are not Nooksack, and sees no middle ground.
I repeat,
members of the Nooksack Indian tribe. Never have been, never will be.
And these pictures show that Klein is serious. Before the new year, armed tribal police are caught on camera serving eviction notices.
This is home. This is her family, where she was born. And then for them to try to take that away from her, it hurts.
That really hurts, you know. We're going to fight till the end. You know, it hurts.
They can say whatever they want. It's their perception. I know who I am. They can't take that away.
Man, they might be sad and all that, but I'm pretty sure the whole time they knew that they wasn't the real people, man. They was paying to play that role, and that's sad, man. You got to be you. Don't be doing that. That's an insult to the real people, the real tribes and the real bloodline.
Okay, get in here, America. Check out this new discovery of indigenous tribes up in the Antarctica. Oh, wait!
Have y'all heard of the Bashenga tribe? Pictures of the Bashenga people along with leaked CIA documents have been circulating in the dark web. This is super weird. It's said that this tribe was taken from West Africa to Antarctica as part of an experiment to see if melanated people could survive in the cold. But it gets really dark because the population of the tribe was reportedly ended after an anthropologist accidentally brought smallpox to the community. What's really strange is that there are pictures of artifacts and very tall wooden structures. Where did they get the wood from? Were there trees in Antarctica? Over time, the Bashenga people were claimed to have adapted to the cold in strange and amazing ways. They were happy to swim in the freezing sea and wore very little clothing, thriving in conditions that should have been impossible for them to endure. Researchers were apparently baffled by this, unable to understand how these adaptations were possible and unable to understand the language. The reports also describe a strange event involving the Bashenga people drinking a strange brown liquid and hallucinating, but there are no further details.
Now what's going on here, America? It seems like we keep on finding these indigenous melanated people all over the world, even in the North Pole, even in the Antarctica, all through Russia, all through Europe, all through Asia, all through America, all through Africa. I mean, it seems like we all over the world, and we've been there all over the world, and we've been there. But the big question is, America, why we wasn't taught this in school?
Thanks for watching this video. Is for entertainment only, but if you know, you know.
Man, I tried to find more about those people, and there wasn't too many clips on here that I could find about them. Like, I ain't gonna say too many. It wasn't enough to make a whole video about them, but those were some very interesting people. That was a very interesting tribe, and what I mean, those people exact, like, of that tribe that were in Antarctica, not, you know, before they came from Antarctica, but I probably should find out about them before they were relocated to Antarctica. Not the whole tribe, but some of them, and I'm pretty sure it's kind of interesting, so I'll be looking into that in the future.
What in God's green earth is making y'all fuck around with different dimensions in the spirit realm and say that it's a party trick? So apparently there's this new game called Red Door or Yellow Door, and people are literally freaking out after going under hypnosis as a party trick and going through these doors. They are reporting seeing apparitions and spirit figures and saying that if you see this man, wake them up. Newsflash, that's a real man.
There's a trend happening right now on TikTok where people are recording themselves playing a game called Red Door, Yellow Door. And honestly, some of these videos are pretty creepy. The point of the game is to put yourself under hypnosis.
Have y'all literally never seen what happens when you go through the red door? Insidious was based off real shit, and it's a reason it's called the Red Door, and Ed and Lorraine Warren are real. I don't even know that what you are doing is allowing a spirit to enter your body that could possibly be a demon, but what other spirit would try to enter your body? When you guys are putting yourself under hypnosis and saying red door, yellow door over and over again until you see a door that you're not supposed to go through, someone else is behind you. Y'all are fucking around in the spirit realm where there is a spirit door that is a passageway between the natural, the temporal world, and the spiritual world. Door can represent our personal natural comfort zone, i.e. the yellow door. When you go through it, you're literally allowing something to possess your body and you're leaving your comfortable zone in this realm. Not playing this shit.
Man, hey, that ain't new. A lot of us already know that that's pretty old and it's been going on for a while, but I guess she just now kind of found out about it. But that's nothing to play with, man. That's opening up your soul, your household to demonic spirits, man. That's just like Satanism in a way, man. Come on, man. Voodoo, witchcraft, all that, man, that goes hand in hand with what's going on in that video.
The ancient Kemites, not Egyptians, but Kemites, were not Arabs. Arab is an identity that developed 1,000 years later in connection with the Quran and the development of the Arabic language. The ancient Kemites were black African, not like me. My color maybe was in the New Kingdom, but in the Old and Middle Kingdom, they were black African. This has been proven over and over again by Sheikh Anta Diop and others. Linguistic proof, picture proof, craniometric proofs, DNA proofs. They even tested the DNA melanin of mummies. My advice to Africans is that you have to believe in the evidence that is right in front of you. This has been proven over and over again. Don't wait for the white Arab invaders to believe. They won't believe because they have a political interest to not believe. But you believe in the truth.
Facts.
Of his own ancient past, all thanks to a DNA test. He is joining us now by Zoom from Atlanta. Hello, Dexter.
Hello, Emily. How are you?
It's so good to see you. Last time was here in Israel. We got to get you back here, but we'll have to settle for Zoom now. You have such an interesting history. Please explain what made you do a DNA test, and then what happened when you found out all of a sudden that you're related to Ramses III.
That's a great question, Emily. Well, about a year and a half ago, I traveled to places like Israel, France, and different places like that. So what happened was people would always ask a normal question, where are you from? And I would say the States, United States. And the people that I saw in France would say, no, where are you really from? And I said, the States. That's all I know. And so that question stuck with me for a long time. And I just said, where am I actually from? I mean, I know I'm American, but where my DNA is from? And so I said, well, let me take my DNA test. It was a 23andMe DNA test, and I took the test, and I was shocked when I saw the results. It came back, and it showed that I was actually a direct descendant of the Pharaoh Ramses III, and I knew nothing of the pharaohs. Didn't know much about Egypt, but everything you hear about, Bible stories and things like that. So for me, it was a huge shock, and that's how I found out about it.
Wow. So obviously you took it deeper and deeper. You saw all of these synchronicities in looking at images of the pharaoh, how much you and even your brother look like them, and your own company has like an eye logo that looks like the Eye of Horus, unconnected to any of this. So what did this open up for you in terms of your own knowledge and learning about this?
I remember I was actually laying in my bed on Christmas Day, 2021, and I was going through my 23andMe DNA test, and that's when I saw that I was connected to the Pharaoh Ramses III, and again, I knew nothing of this situation. And so I looked up a sculpture of the Pharaoh Ramses III, and when I saw the sculpture, I literally screamed. And my wife said, Dexter, what's wrong? I said, this guy from 4,000 years ago, we look just alike. And she said, Dexter, wait a minute. There were no pictures for 4,000 years ago. I said, no, his sculpture with the Pharaoh Ramses III, his sculpture, we look like identical twins. And she said, let me see it. She saw it. She said, oh, my goodness. And then I continued to go over different sculptures, looking online. And I saw the sculpture that looked just like my brother. If you could show that on the screen, it'd be absolutely amazing. But it was, and I looked at the sculpture and I said, this looks just like my brother Joe. And I called my brother Joe and I said, I'm going to send you something. And he said, where'd you get that from? It looks just like me. I said, that's a sculpture of the Pharaoh Ramses III. And he said, oh my God, I said, that's over 4,000 years old and looks identical, just like you. So we were blown away, completely blown away.
And talk about the synchronicities. It's funny how the universe speaks to us. So you have a company that with the eye is a logo. You even have a dog that's similar to the dogs of Pharaoh. What?
As I kept digging more and more, I had a friend who's here in the States. He's from Israel, and he said, Dexter, he said, your logo that you have for your company, the eye that you started like over 4 years ago, looks just like the logo from the Pharaoh Ramses III. I said, what are you talking about? What did they have? And they had the Eye of Horus. And I looked at it, I said, oh my goodness, they had an eye as their logo, and my company's logo was an eye. And again, keep in mind, Emily, I found this out about a year ago. But I had my company established for over 4 years before that, my startup. And so I just kept continuing. I said, this is crazy. We actually have the same image, logo. And so I kept digging further, and I found out that they had dogs called the Pharaoh Hound, which is in the same family as the dogs that I own called Whippets, which are sight hounds. So they run just as fast, chase small prey. That's what they were bred for. So, and then I continued to look at it further, and I said, wait a minute, what was the Pharaoh Ramses III's name? When I actually looked it up, it was, they had different names, of course, but the name was Seti, S-E-T-I, Seti number 2. That was the Pharaoh Ramses III name. Seti number 1 was his father, the one that was the, fought against Moses and the let my people go situation. So Seti number 2 was Pharaoh Ramses III. And I said, wait a minute, my company's name is actually Smart Eye Technology Incorporated. If you take the first letters, Smart Eye Technology Incorporated, it comes out to SETI. That blew my mind. I said, this is insane. So everything connected. And I'll never forget, Emily, my first trip to Israel in 2015, I went to the Negev Desert, and I felt so comfortable in a Negev Desert. I remember saying to myself, I feel like I could live here. But when I did more research, I found out that the Pharaoh Ramses III spent years in the Negev Desert trading. So again, these are all things I'm learning, and I felt like so much at home, and I just realized why.
Wow, it's incredible. So obviously you're still on your learning journey of, what this all means, but what is it like to kind of be this person who happened to get a test, discover this, and now we're also learning a little bit about what pharaohs look like. We have images from the 10 Commandments, as you noticed, but what does this tell you? What do you want to do with this information?
I think it's all still learning. I'm still learning. If you saw the image of how I look just like the Pharaoh Ramses III, every day when I look up in the mirror, I look in the mirror and I just see myself, and I said, this is crazy that this image that I see is identical to me. And this was from 4,000 years ago. So I'm still shocked every day when I wake up and look at it.
Thank you so much, Dexter. Next time we'll interview you right here in studio when you get to Israel. Much appreciated.
Yeah, that's just a little something to make your mind wonder. Facts is facts. That's all I'm going to say, man. A lot of people don't agree with it, but, man, there's too much facts and evidence coming out that what we saying is real and is true.
So for hundreds of years, we've been telling you, and now you have to keep in mind that we took away any other God that you might have through force, through fear, through pain. So now I'm going to give you a God, but I'm going to do that in a way that it's going to further me. So I'm going to give you a God that looks like me, so that when you bow down to that God, you're bowing down to me. The Bible tells us what he's going to look like when he comes back. We have taken that and changed it. Do you remember when Jesus went to Egypt? He hid in Egypt. The people in Egypt, honey, they're not white people. How could he hide that? See, so that we've done that.
That's gonna be one that's gonna irk a lot of people's nerves and gonna, rub a lot of people the wrong way. But I'm very curious, man. Get in the comment section, let me know what you think about that clip and the rest of the video. And if you made it this far and you've been watching from the beginning and you still here now, I appreciate it, man. I really appreciate you staying here watching the whole video, because it counts. Y'all don't forget to like, subscribe, like, share, comment. Just helping the video go up in the algorithm, man. You know what I'm saying? Try to get me out that little shadow band. I appreciate it, y'all. It's all love. I love everybody. I don't care what color you are, black, white, blue, brown, pink, purple, yellow, green. You know what I'm saying? I love you all, especially all my loyal supporters that been here since day one, and my new subscribers. I appreciate y'all for subscribing to the channel. It's all love. I hope y'all learn a lot. I hope y'all are very entertained by the content that I put out for y'all. It's your boy Koozie. I'm out. Y'all have a good day. Catch you next video.